Good evening and welcome to the Zoning Board of Appeals for the City of Easthampton. Today is Wednesday, January 26th. As a result of the COVID-19 pandemic, this meeting is being held via Zoom remotely. We have administrative items to take care of first. The first thing is correspondence and requests for comments from both boards and or committees or officials. Curtis, do we have anything on the board for that?
There's no correspondence from other boards or officials that are yet here for the ZBA here, but I would like to take this opportunity to point out and put on the spot our new associate member, Tim Garceau, who's in attendance. Tim, if you want to say hi to everybody
Hi, thank you.
Well, welcome to the board.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Okay, and then moving on, is there any public speak, an opportunity for any member of the public to address the board regarding an item which is not on this evening's agenda? Do we have anyone who is not in reference to the request this evening? Okay, and then we have the minutes from the September 22nd, 2021 and the November 10th, 2021 meetings for approval.
I've been emailed some corrections on these. I misappended the dates to one, as you might imagine. When I template out a minutes, I copy the template from one to another, and sometimes that means that the date is wrong. I apologize for my lack of for that error, and I will correct that one. I believe that's on the July, the second of the 2 minutes.
The November.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions, concerns, corrections regarding the minutes? Okay, if we could get a motion for an approval on the minutes from a board member.
I make a motion to approve the November and December minutes.
Okay, can I get a second?
I second.
Okay, Steve second. All in favor by show of hands of the board members who were present at those meetings? Okay, the minutes pass unanimously. Okay, and we will begin now our public hearing in regard to NSA Property Holdings LLC doing business as Move-In Storage, seeking a reapproval of the 2020 variance to the frontage and front yard setback requirements for construction of additional self-storage units in accordance with Section 13.1 of the Easthampton zoning ordinance. The subject property is located at 9 Coleman Road / Main Street, parcel ID 164-8, and zoned industrial I. Now, if my memory serves me correctly, this variance was approved previously as prior to the COVID-19 pandemic, and this is merely an opportunity to extend it because construction did not start. Is that correct?
That's correct. I'll introduce myself, Ellen Fryman, with the law firm Schwartz & Fenton, 1441 Main Street in Springfield, and I represent NSA Property Holdings, which does business as Move-In Self-Storage. And yes, we did get this approval. This project was slated to be done a couple of years ago, and then COVID put a halt to it. So we did, the permit expired. A variance is good for a year. And so we actually have to come in and start the clock over again and ask for the variance once again. So we're happy to explain for the benefit of new board members or for those who don't recall, what we're asking for and why we're asking for it. And we did run into, the delay was due to supply chain issues and price of goods. And so things are looking better, and so now the project is going to move forward. So permitting is required both in Easthampton and Southampton, as you will see, and so this is one of the steps that we need to take before we can start construction.
Okay.
So if we can put up the plan, we can explain what we're looking for.
So I've given screen share to both you and to Jeff Squire, and I'm happy to share it with anybody else.
Okay, if you could with Stephen Sobey, please. He's I should have introduced Stephen as an associate in our office.
So if Alan, if I could just interject here.
Yeah.
Whereas this was previously presented and approved I know that there were some conditions or concerns regarding the fact that the property was located both within Southampton and Easthampton.
Correct.
If we were to just simply make a motion to approve or extend the variance previously approved on this date without a full hearing this evening, would you accept that?
Yeah, that would be fine. But I think we would have to say that, it's a new approval as opposed to an extension, because it did expire. So the permit did expire. This isn't a request for an extension, which you're very limited in variances in being able to get extensions.
True.
So,
Okay.
And just procedurally, the board should still request if there's any public comment, because this was a duly noticed public hearing. But if you don't want to deliberate, that's completely your right. And the applicant has communicated in their formal paperwork that nothing has changed in the plan since the original submittal in 2020.
That's right. And we did lay out the ways that we do comply with the requirements that in order for you to grant the variance.
Yes, if I recall correctly, we did issue certain conditions regarding the approval previously. And so I just want to, make sure that folks are all well aware of that. With, I know there are new members on the board since the previous meeting and approval. I just, am looking at this as just a repeat of what we've already done.
It is.
Okay. So would, if you would like to present, feel free to give the Reader's Digest version.
Okay, I'll do the Reader's Digest version. And really, I just think if we just show what we're doing, the picture will cover 1,000 words here. So, so the yellow highlighter is the parcel. And then the green line shows that it splits the parcel in half, the northern part being Easthampton, the southern part being Southampton. If you look at the corner where the yellow and the green intersect, you'll see that all of the frontage for the parcel is in in Southampton, none of which is in Easthampton. So that's the reason for the frontage variance, because although there is plenty of frontage, it's just not in Easthampton. So it's a very unique situation, which makes, asking for a variance easy in this case because of the uniqueness of the parcel. And then the front yard setback, again, we have plenty of frontage between the building and the shaded buildings. Those are the new ones that are going to be constructed. So there's, you'll see there's a little highlight that shows, light highlighting that shows the existing buildings, and the shaded area shows the expansion. And although we do have plenty of frontage from the new building closest to the road, between the building and the road, the fact that, again, that front yard setback is almost all in Southampton creates the need to get the variance. So that's pretty quick explanation of why we're here. And you see that there's wetlands on the Southampton parcel, which is forcing the development to be on the Easthampton parcel. So we do have to come back for site plan approval from the City of Easthampton. Also, we have to go before the Conservation Commission. So there's other opportunities for public input, and this is our first step.
Okay. All right. So with that in mind, do any of the members of the board have any questions for the applicant, either Alan Fryman or Jeff Squire, who is with Berkshire Design?
I was reading the.
Okay. And are there any members of the public that are present in the meeting that have questions or concerns regarding the application? I will take that as a no. Okay. So with that in mind, as we all know, there are certain requirements to meet the conditions to issue a variance, both by the state and within by the city. There are 4 key requirements. And as a result of having already heard and approved this hearing, our applicant, I will go ahead and read the findings that were found at the previous meeting. And please let me know if anyone has any questions or concerns regarding them. The variance is with respect to a particular parcel of land located at Main Street, rear Easthampton, and number 9 Coleman Road, Southampton. So that is related to a certain piece of property. There are circumstances related to the soil condition, shape, or topography that especially affect the property, but do not generally affect the zoning district in which the property is located. Wetlands and topography limit the developable area of the property to the land in Easthampton. The shape of the land is unique because the town line cuts through the middle of the property, resulting in all the frontage being along Coleman Road in Southampton. Number 3 is a literal enforcement of the ordinance would involve substantial hardship to the applicant as the rest of the property is unbuildable and they would not be able to expand their business. And number 4, desirable relief may be granted as there will not be substantial detriment to the public good, nor nullification or substantial derogation from the intent and purpose of the ordinance, as there is already a business on the property, and expanding it would not be detrimental, as it would create jobs and increase tax revenue. Additionally, the purpose of the ordinance is to protect the public welfare and public good, and granting this variance would not have an impact on the community, as there is currently adequate access to the site and frontage requirements exist to make sure the adequate access exists for the property. If not for the town line, they would meet the requirements of the ordinance and no variance would be required as their frontage along an existing road in Southampton. Does that all make sense to everyone who is a member of the board? Okay, I know previously we did issue certain conditions, and I will repeat those conditions, and if we could just address those, to see if any of them have been addressed. Number 1, the 140-foot frontage requirement is reduced to 0, provided that the right of access and vehicular access to the subject property is sufficiently maintained via the existing shared driveway at 422 Main Street or a newly provided access across the subject property in Southampton. Is there a right-of-way or some sort of contract to allow continued access via 422?
We're going to continue to show it as it is on the plan. There's no change to the access road that I'm aware of.
Okay. And then condition number 2, the 25-foot side setback requirement is reduced to 0 along the Easthampton portion of the city-town boundary line dividing the subject property, provided the areas with the reduced setback are held in common ownership in both sides of the city/town property line. So you own property in, your customer or client owns property in Southampton and in Easthampton. And,
right, it's one parcel and it's going to stay as one parcel.
Okay.
The same ownership.
Okay. I know there was discussion at your original hearing regarding the need to get approval from Southampton.
Yeah.
Has that variance or approval been granted?
We will be going before them for the Conservation Commission for an order of conditions, and potentially, we're not sure yet what other permit they're going to require, but whatever permitting is required, we would go before them before we proceed with the project.
Okay. Would members of the board want to add a condition regarding that? Or do we feel that the conditions that are presented in the original hearing are sufficient? Oop. Yes, Chris.
It's always tricky to make a condition conditional on another board's decision. I would encourage against adding a new condition here because really tipping my lack of legal knowledge here. There is a reason why we don't. And it's you put a project in like double jeopardy where we defer the responsibility of decision making for our board to this other board in Southampton, which is not an Easthampton board. So in this particular case, the ZBA should feel empowered to make whatsoever decision, irrespective of Southampton. And if Southampton says, sorry, you can't get access, they can't get built for Southampton reasons.
Okay.
We would agree.
Okay. All right. So with those findings and conditions in place, can I get a motion for approval? Or is there any further discussion? Let me back up. Is there any further discussion the board would like to have concerning the application? And with that, I will ask for a motion.
Make a motion that we approve.
Okay, and a second?
Second.
Okay, Steve has made a motion, Tony has seconded. And is there any further discussion regarding the application? Matt, you are on mute.
Sorry, could you just summarize once finally what the motion is to
So the motion is to,
specifically?
so the motion is to approve a variance for the property that is located in Easthampton, but the only access is through Southampton. And to allow 0 front yard setback, I think it's 0 front yard setback, regarding the property, because the property line within Easthampton, not the entire property, but because of the town border, it cuts their property in half. And as a result, we have to issue a variance for them to expand within their entire property.
Can I just make a alteration? The entrance is in Easthampton. It's a shared access.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
You're correct.
So it's just that we have to use the frontage for Southampton for the project. So
Correct.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Any further questions, concerns? All right. With that, I'll call the motion that has been made and seconded. All in favor with the raise of hands? Okay. The motion carries 5-0. Okay. It is motion approved.
thank you so much. Thank you,
Okay.
everybody. Appreciate it. Appreciate your time.
Absolutely. Thank you. And hopefully you won't be delayed this time.
Hopefully. Thank you.
All right. Have a great evening.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you. All right. So that was pretty harmless. Next agenda is other business of the board.
I have one remark to share.
Go ahead, Curtis.
I have been poached by MassDOT, and I will be leaving the employment of the city of Easthampton. I apologize. I've had a real pleasure serving with the ZBA here. I think you guys are an incredibly dedicated board, and it has been an honor and a pleasure to work alongside you. I wouldn't be leaving it except for a great opportunity, as I've really enjoyed my time in Easthampton. But I am very confident you'll continue to be well served by the planning department, and most likely by Jamie, who many of you have worked with before. If at any point you'd like to stay in touch, feel free to send an email to my work email. I won't be a stranger, and I'll be engaged in questions similar to the ones of the ZBA for the rest of my career, I imagine. So, I won't be a stranger.
Congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations.
Good luck. What will you be doing at MassDOT?
I'll be starting with the public-private development unit is getting restarted under Lionel, and he's hiring people to do what he does, which is the Section 61 findings for new curb cuts onto state highways. And additionally, I'm going to be doing GIS research for the department as an enterprise service for the other wings of the city, which is really what I went to school for back in the day.
Cool. Congratulations.
I am excited, and I apologize for the 5 seconds in which you and I have known each other, Tim.
I scared you off. I see how it works.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So with that said, our next meeting is planned for Wednesday, February 23rd at the same bat time of 6 p.m. Jamie is, I guess, on deck for that meeting, Curtis?
I'll correspond with the whole board just to make sure that we know what the triage is going forward from here. I leave mid-February, so before this next meeting, but I've already had some dialogue with Jamie with the expectation that she'll be signing back on with this decision completed and all of the minutes up to date, which is the edits to the previous ones and the minutes from tonight's meeting, which brings us fully up to the current day.
And today is the 26th. We have a deadline of February 2nd at noon. Are you aware of anything that is currently on the docket or anything in the wind?
I've had a prospective discussion about a variance on Westview Terrace, but I think that one is way more of a legal nightmare than will get resolved before my departure. So, no.
I hear a happy child in the background.
Sorry.
All good, all good.
Okay.
Zoom has made us all real people.
There's a couple of meetings on Easthampton Media where I'm holding him in my lap, you know?
Awesome. I love it. All right. Well, with that, can I get a motion for adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Okay. And a second by anyone?
Second.
Second. And anyone willing to object? All right. With that, we will call it quits. Curtis, bon chance on your new venue there, and we will talk with you soon.